Legendary Notre Dame football coach Lou Holtz humbly accepted the Presidential Medal of Freedom today, the highest civilian award in the nation. Watch.
I'm recognized for what other people did. I never made a block or tackle, but I did try to teach people to make good choices. That's all I've ever tried to do, but thank you.
Just try to help people make good choices. One of Lou's dearest friends would be so proud today. I love this picture. There may have never been a bigger fan of Notre Dame football than Regis Philbin, who was laid to rest at the university this past summer. Regis talked all the time about Notre Dame and about Lou Holtz on the show when I used to watch way back. And here's what he had to say to students in 2012.
Some people who thought maybe I was exaggerating. But so they would ask me, how great really is it? And I told them from my heart, and I mean it, it's the closest experience you will ever have to being in heaven.
I would have to agree with that, actually. So Regis's longtime co-host, Kathie Lee Gifford, joins me now, award-winning TV host and author of a brand new book, It's Never Too Late, and she packs it in. She's done so much in her life. Kathie Lee, it's always good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, Martha. I finally made prime time. Thank you.
Well, I watched you on The Morning the other day with our Fox and Friends buddies, and I was like, I want Kathie Lee to come on my show. So I really appreciate you coming on.
So glad. Thank you.
You know, just about that, first of all, because it was such a moving moment with Lou Holtz today at the White House, and he's such a genuine, real, humble person. And, you know, Regis had those qualities. You have those qualities. Why would Regis was just such a big fan of this man?
Oh, he's a very lovable man. I didn't know him well. I only met him a couple of times, so I certainly am not the person to speak about him. But Regis loved his integrity. I used to tease Regis all the time because all you talk about Notre Dame all the time. I said, I'm so happy for you, Regis. But isn't it sad that the greatest years of your life were 50 years ago?
And he just kept going back to the well.
It was totally legitimate. His feelings for that place were as legendary as Regis was.
Yeah.
And I loved what Lou said. I've been doing interviews all day long, so I didn't hear. But, you know, that is one thing we are sadly lacking in our world, don't you think, Martha, is humility, modesty, gratitude, an attitude of awe that God chose you to mean that much to so many people, instead of, I did this and then I did that, and tomorrow I'm going to do this. It's just, the arrogance is so offensive to me when people take credit for something that a lot of people help them do, you know? No, and it's like they don't exist. They're suddenly invisible. And Lou Holtz had that beautiful humility. And my husband, Frank, did. Frank was in 8 Halls of Fame. 8 Halls of Fame, and you never met a more modest man about all of it because he was the most grateful person I ever met. And so was Regis. They came from very humble beginnings. Frank even more so than Regis. Frank used to say to me when we first met, he said, you know, people say that they thought I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. He goes, Kathie, we didn't have spoons. No. You know, he was born in the Depression, raised in the Depression, ate dog food often and was grateful to have it. And just worked hard. And, you know, there's so many people in this world today, it seems to me, and there are a lot of great, great, wonderful, hardworking people. But we hear so much about the ones that feel entitled. They want what you have, but they haven't worked for it. They want to sit where Martha McCallum's sitting, but they haven't done the work. They haven't earned it yet. And I know in my 55 or so years in this business that if I hadn't worked for any of it, I wouldn't appreciate it. I wouldn't be grateful for it. I'd just be looking for the next thing I was entitled to. I'm tired of that in our culture. We got to get back to hard work and honest work and gratitude for our blessings instead of always moaning and groaning about, you know, what we don't have. You know, it was Robert F. Kennedy, I think, or was it John F. Kennedy? One of the Kennedy brothers said, you know, ask not what your country can do for you, but for what you can do for your country. Where'd that go?
I think you make such a great point. I don't know how we need to instill that in children, that the virtue of humility. You know, that was one of the other things that Lou Holtz said today. He said there's 2 important days in your life. One is the day that you're born, and one is the day you figure out what you were born to do. And you, Kathie Lee, are somebody who has known what you were born to do. You know, I've watched you so on the stage and Annie as Miss Hannigan and all of the things that you've done And, when I was, starting out in New York and just watching you and Reed every single morning together, and you have never stopped working and enjoying life. And the new book is called It's Never Too Late. What do you want to say to women, to people out there about, reinventing yourself all the time and never stopping working?
Well, when people use the word reinventing, I know what they mean, but it's not what I mean at all. I didn't invent myself to begin with, Martha, so I can't reinvent myself.
You are what you are.
I'm created in the image of God, just as you are, just as every human being is, I believe. So I am co-creator with my creator God every day of my life. And that means walking with him every day, not just visiting him on the weekends at church. I'm not talking about religion at all. In this book, I talk about partnering with God for your entire life. It's basically womb to the tomb to beyond. And I am not a fan of religion. People think I'm so religious. I am the least religious person you'll ever meet, but I love the living God with all my heart. And I want to know him better, and I want to walk purposely with him every day, and I don't want to waste a moment of it. It was Paul Newman, through a story that I tell in the book, that taught me if you've got a pulse, you've got a purpose. And you'd have to understand the whole context of the story to understand why I say it, but that stayed with me. And then when I held my husband, who had passed on just a few moments before, and I found him gone, but gone to glory. And he had the look, this was his look. And I said, oh my God, he saw Jesus, and Jesus took his breath away. And I rejoiced. I'm holding him, I'm sobbing, but it wasn't tears of anguish. I was rejoicing with him. And that's what I tried to explain to Regis 2 weeks before he died. He came to lunch at my house. He goes, Kath, what do you think? Where do we go? What happens to us? And we had yet another talk like we'd had over the 35-year friendship.
You're a special pair of people, and I'm grateful for your time tonight. The book is called It's Never Too Late. Thank you so much, Kathy Lee. Wonderful to be with you.
Bless you. Happy holiday.
Bless you too.